Genevieve Pons joins me now. Welcome, Genevieve, to the Forum for the Future of Agriculture. You are a director at the European Policy Office for the World Wildlife Fund. Now, I know that you need to talk about mobilising people and changing behaviour. You've just had Earth Hour, for example. The debate here is about time for solutions today at the forum. Why are forums like this so important?
Well, because I think that we can progress a lot by exchanging ideas and exchanging views. We had yesterday evening the speakers' dinner, and everybody was invited to express their views. And I must say that also everybody was listening to the others, and I had the feeling already to learn something. I hope that others have learned something listening to me, and I think that we can progress. And we are facing so huge challenges presently. I think that in Europe our system of production and consumption of food is not sustainable, but I think that we cannot face it alone. We have to face it together, so that's why this kind of forum is very, very useful.
Can I ask you what you have learnt so far?
What I have announced as actions?
Or what you said you learnt yesterday at the Speakers' Dinner, and what you've heard that you feel is new or is useful to the debate so far?
Well, actually, yesterday I noted a certain number of keywords. Mr. Potocznik was speaking of long-term perspective. The difficulty in our present societies to go beyond short-termism, short-term views. And we need to think in the long term if we want to solve the problems we are facing.
How realistic is that, given that, of course, you need concrete policy agenda for the long term, but from politicians who have short-term agendas?
It's very difficult to solve. I think it's a question of raising awareness of the citizens. It's also a question of giving the right signals. How to act now, cleverly, to prepare the future. We have really to give now the right signals, and these signals should not be tackle the short term.
So being smart and giving the right signals then, when you talk to the forum a little later on this afternoon in our session on the sustainability in a food chain and that transition, what will be your main message?
Well, actually it will be in three parts. First of all, the present situation is not sustainable. Second, we have opportunities to answer to the challenges we are facing. And finally, how do we propose we in WWF to face them? When I say it is not sustainable for farmers, so producers in the food chain. It is not sustainable for nature, not for third countries, and finally not for consumers. Farmers, 20% went out of job between 2007 and 2013. And 80% of the subsidies, the huge subsidies that the CAP is giving, are going to 20% of farmers and the richest ones. So this is broken for farmers, but also for nature. Unfortunately, agriculture is the main driver of biodiversity loss in Europe. I give you one example because it is really linked directly to farming. 57% of farmland birds have disappeared since 1980. I can give you another figure. In fresh waters, 81% of fishes have disappeared. So we are in a very worrying situation also for nature. And finally, the way we produce, especially our cattle, the way we consume, especially the fact that we consume so much meat and dairies, has tremendous consequences on deforestation elsewhere. Because we are feeding our cattle with soy. And presently, the surface of soy everywhere, due to deforestation, is equivalent to the surface of France plus Germany plus Belgium plus Netherlands. So you imagine how much deforestation we have made to arrive to feed our population.
Finally, can I just get a very quick message from you on your sense of optimism for the future? I mean, the forum is sponsored by Syngenta, for example. Do you feel that all of these stakeholders are now starting to pull in the same direction?
I really very much hope that all stakeholders will change their mind, change their attitude, because once again we must face all these challenges together. But we, as WWF, will fight for a radical reform of the CAP. And we want a reorientation of subsidies, and subsidies should shift to small and medium-sized farmers to do sustainable farming. This is the first point we want. Then we want an action plan for deforestation, to tackle deforestation and forest degradation, including with regulatory measures. And finally, we would like the European Union to come back to food communication that was scrapped 2 years ago, and that would help us tackle food waste and also change our diet.
Well, good luck in the debate this afternoon. I'm sure you will enjoy it. I hope everybody is listening, and I hope you are too. Thank you, Genevieve Pons.